There are seasons in life when God feels silent. You pray, but the answer doesn't come. You wait, but nothing seems to change. Days pass, weeks pass, sometimes even years pass, and you begin to wonder if heaven has forgotten your voice. In those moments, the silence can feel heavy. Your heart asks questions your mind cannot answer. You start thinking maybe you are not strong enough, maybe your faith is not big enough, maybe the breakthrough you hoped for will never arrive. But today you need to remember something powerful. God's silence does not mean God's absence. Even when you cannot hear Him, He is still working in ways you cannot see. The story of faith has always included seasons of waiting. Even the people closest to God experienced moments when it felt like nothing was happening. But every silent season eventually revealed a greater purpose that God had been preparing all along. When you look at the life of Jesus Christ, you see a reminder that God's plans often unfold in ways we do not expect. Before Jesus began his public mission, he spent years living quietly, unnoticed by the world. There were no crowds, no miracles, no recognition. Just years of preparation. To many people it would have looked like nothing important was happening. But those quiet years were part of God's perfect timing. When the moment arrived, Jesus stepped forward and changed history forever. That truth should encourage you today, because your quiet season may also be a preparation season. God may be shaping your character, strengthening your faith, and preparing your heart for something greater than you can imagine right now. Sometimes God works slowly because the blessings He has planned require you to become stronger first. Think about a tree growing from a seed. At first nothing appears above the ground. For a long time it looks like the soil is empty. But beneath the surface roots are forming. Those roots grow deeper and stronger before the tree ever becomes visible. If the tree grew too quickly without strong roots, the first storm would destroy it. But when the roots grow deep first, the tree becomes strong enough to survive powerful winds. In the same way, God often grows your roots before He reveals your breakthrough. The waiting season may feel frustrating, but it is often the time when God is building the strength inside you that will support the blessings ahead. Many people in the Bible experienced long periods of waiting before their lives changed. Abraham waited years for the promise of a son. Joseph waited in prison before stepping into the destiny God had planned for him. David waited many years between being anointed as king and actually becoming king. These stories remind us that God's timing is rarely instant, but it is always perfect. When God finally moves, everything begins to align in ways that could never have happened through human effort alone. The truth is that waiting can feel painful. When you see other people moving forward in life while you feel stuck in the same place, it can make your heart feel heavy. You start comparing your life to theirs. You wonder why the doors are opening while yours seem closed. But comparison is one of the quickest ways to lose your peace. God did not design your life to follow someone else's timeline. Your journey is unique. Your calling is unique. And the path God is leading you through may be different from the paths you see around you. Sometimes what feels like a delay is actually protection. There may be doors God is keeping closed because He knows they would lead you into pain later. There may be relationships He is removing because they would have distracted you from your true purpose. There may be opportunities He is delaying because He is preparing something far greater than what you are asking for today. God sees the entire picture of your life while you can only see a small part of it. That is why faith means trusting Him even when you cannot understand what He is doing. Think about the disciples during the moment when Jesus was placed in the tomb. From their perspective, everything looked finished. The teacher they loved was gone, their hope seemed destroyed, and the future looked uncertain. They had followed Jesus believing that something extraordinary would happen, but now they were surrounded by silence and grief. Those 3 days must have felt like the longest days of their lives. But while the disciples waited in confusion, God was preparing the miracle of the resurrection. The silence was not the end. It was the moment before the greatest victory. The same principle can apply to your life. Sometimes the silence you are experiencing right now is simply the moment before God reveals something incredible. The breakthrough may not come the way you expect. It may not arrive on the timeline you planned. But when God moves, it will be in a way that reminds you that His power is greater than any obstacle you faced. Your responsibility during the waiting season is not to lose faith. It is easy to trust God when everything is going well. Faith feels natural when doors are opening and blessings are flowing. But true faith is revealed when life becomes difficult. Faith means saying, God, I don't understand what you are doing, but I trust you anyway. Faith means continuing to pray even when answers seem delayed. Faith means believing that the same God who worked miracles in the past is still capable of doing miracles today. The storms you face today are not permanent. The struggles that feel overwhelming right now will not last forever. Every storm eventually runs out of rain. Every night eventually gives way to morning. And every season of waiting eventually leads to the moment when God reveals why the waiting was necessary. One day you will look back at this season and realize that God was guiding you even when you thought you were walking alone. You will see how certain disappointments protected you from the wrong direction. You will see how certain delays gave you the strength you needed for what came next. And you will see how every moment of waiting was part of a plan far greater than you could have imagined. So if you feel discouraged today, take a deep breath and remember that God is still with you. If you feel like your prayers are disappearing into silence, remember that heaven hears every word. And if you feel like giving up today, remember that many of the greatest miracles in history happened just after people thought hope was gone. Your story is still unfolding. Your breakthrough may be closer than you think. The God who raised Jesus from the grave has not lost His power. And if He can bring life out of a tomb, He can bring new hope into the situation you are facing right now. Keep believing. Keep praying. Keep moving forward with faith in your heart. Because even when God seems silent, He is still working, and the moment He reveals what He has been preparing may change your life in ways you never expected.